There's something weird, isn't there, about the seventh principle of the White Eagle Lodge, physical immortality. Now, we know that's impossible because something born in time has to die in time. If it's in time, it has a beginning and an end. So physical immortality is an impossibility. And if it's physical, it's temporal. If it's temporal, it's physical. In Einstein's relativity, time and space are a block. They come as a package. You can't separate them. So although time is called the fourth dimension, actually the dimensions don't have numbers. You could say time is the first dimension and the 3D space is number 2, 3, 4. But they don't have a first and a last. They all happen as a package together. So the physical world is temporal. But something physical must have a beginning and an end. It's temporal. So you can't have physical immortality. Now, the only way that we could explain the seventh principle of the White Eagle Lodge is to say that it's not really a physical immortality, because what Eagle actually says is the spiritual power is so strong it transmutes the physical atoms into a higher reality. Now let's be kind and allow the possibility that this higher reality transcends the 4 dimensions of the physical world, and therefore it transcends time. So it'd be a trans-temporal reality. And then you could have immortality because you're above or beyond, outside physical time. And White Eagle does seem to be saying something like that, because it's Christianity, mystical Christianity. And when you look at the Christian church now, this is not White Eagle now, this is the church, they have a illogical, strange belief about the resurrection of the body. Now, you know and I know, we all know that the body cannot be resurrected. That's it. There's no resurrection. That was a hoax, a lie. It's a fairy tale. It was a sales gimmick to promote the early church in a very competitive environment, hostile environment as well. So they invented this idea of physical resurrection. Well, maybe they didn't invent that because the pharaohs, degenerate Atlantean Egyptian religion, so not the original Egyptian religion, but a degenerate bastard child of the original Atlantean science, occult science. Those degenerate pharaohs, they were actually trying to achieve, weren't they, physical immortality with their mummification process and spiritual ceremonies to sanctify the body. Now, so Christianity wasn't absolutely the first to have this idea. And then you've got the Jews. Apparently, original Judaism, there's no soul, there's only a body. And what happens when the Messiah comes along at the end of days or something? He physically resurrects all the old dead bones under the ground, and they miraculously stand up out of their graves, and they're made whole with flesh and blood and tissue. Well, so actually, Christianity, coming out of Judaism, it didn't really invent the idea of physical resurrection, although it made it popular, made it a Western concept. However, something seemed to really begin with the Jesus story. There is this whole new concept that just ascension isn't enough. Like Buddha, he wasn't resurrected. Ramana Maharishi, he didn't get resurrected. No, they just die, dust to dust and ashes to ashes, and then the soul is liberated. Go back to, up there. So Christianity started this idea of it's not enough just to get liberated. Having come down here to this material level, you then have to clean it, this dirty, polluted, criminal, corrupt world, and somehow a small piece of it you lift up. This is your body, spiritualize, transmute, sublimate. Not that you get free of it, but you take it back with you through the power of your spirit to not liberate yourself from it, but to liberate the body from the world. Now, it sounds like a lot of nonsense, doesn't it? But that actually seems to be a real Christian concept way back then. Not starting with White Eagle, because Jesus, he said to the Sadducees and Pharisees, didn't he? He said, I will rebuild the temple in 3 days. And they looked around at each other and they thought, he's crazy like John. John the Baptist. And not realizing he meant the temple, it was the body. Well, so after he died, after 3 days, he was resurrected. But when he was talking about the temple, he had said rebuild. Not that the temple will be just constructed again, but rebuilt. And this is what we find in the 7th principle of the White Eagle Lodge. They're talking about rebuilding the substance of the physical body so that it becomes transmuted into a immortal stuff that is in a 5th dimension, transcending the temporal dimension. So it is there in the gospel story, this idea of not just live again, but rebuild, reconstructing, transmuting. So there almost seemed to be a new concept which was initiated with Jesus. And it even comes down into subsequent secret societies. If you look at the Masonic obsession with death and rising up again, and previously you might have thought that's just symbolic of the soul that ascends after death, or the spirit is released and rises up and lives again after the body's dead. But when you think about the Jesus thing, and the Masons, the Temple of Solomon obsession, and Jesus was talking about rebuild the temple, you start to see some kind of connection here. Maybe that Masonic ceremony isn't about life after death. It's also enacting the transmutation of the physical body into a higher substance. Now, I can't know, can I, right or wrong? It seems implausible, a little preposterous, but maybe they really believe that. But if they believe that and they're wrong, then the seventh principle of the White Eagle Lodge is wrong. And if that's wrong, it means, well, how reliable are the White Eagle teachings? If that's wrong, the other parts of the teachings could be wrong, and then we have to question, so who is this White Eagle dude, and why is he pretending to be an American Indian? And unless, of course, it's true, in which case we have to reevaluate our belief systems and reality itself.